Hi everyone, my name is Samuel with Rogue Wave Coffee, and we're excited to share February's subscription coffee. So for February, we have a coffee from Guatemala. This is called Entre Volcanes, and it's from the San Miguel Mill. Now, the San Miguel Mill is located in Antigua, Guatemala, and it works with over 500 coffee producers. So this is a mixed lot of coffee from many different producers in the region. It is a wash coffee, and it's grown between 1,500 and 2,000 meters above sea level. When I first tasted this coffee, I thought to myself, this is such a great, comfortable, shareable coffee. When I first tasted it, I thought, like, this is the kind of coffee I want to drink a big mug of first thing in the morning. So when we were developing our recipe for this month's subscription coffee, I thought to myself, why don't I make something that we can share? So today we're going to do a bigger brew than we normally do. So this is going to yield enough coffee for yourself and your partner or a friend or some other member of your family that you want to share this coffee with, because coffee's always better when it's shared, I think. We also, this month, are going to give you a recipe for espresso, because this is a coffee that we're using as espresso. We like it because it's got a nice rich full body and a nice sweetness that carries forward into milk. So we'll start with the pour over and then we'll move into our espresso recipe. Like I said, it's a 2-person, 2-cup pour over recipe. If you are flying solo, check the description and we'll put our recipe for just a single cup. I'm gonna use the V60. It's one of the most popular drippers, so I think there's a good chance you might have something like this or something very similar to this around. I'm using the Hario paper. One thing you will need for this is a bigger server, something that's gonna hold about 600 mils of coffee. I've got my scale, and then we're gonna be brewing with water that's 94 degrees Celsius and 37 grams of coffee. So I've already ground my coffee. This coffee I ground on the EasyPress OK Max at 7.9 to 8. So this is on the coarser side of a grind, and that's to account for the larger dose of coffee. We just want to make sure that we're not getting bogged down because we're putting so much water into the cone. So to get started, we're gonna add our dry coffee. Also, if you're using ceramic V60, this is very important to preheat. So as you're wetting your filter, you're preheating your dripper and preheating your vessel. Ceramic likes to be preheated. If you have plastic, it's a little less sensitive to temperature, but it's always nice to rinse your filter. So I've got a rinsed filter and we're ready to brew. All right, so I've got the coffee in. Now I'm gonna zero out my scale. So first up, we're going to do a pour up to 80 grams. So at a nice steady rate, pouring your water, coating all of the coffee grounds. So you want to make sure that all the coffee powder is contacting water so we can allow it to degas. Especially if you're brewing this coffee right when you get it. You want to give that coffee water, space to degas. We're going to do a 45-second bloom. You can actually bloom up to 2 minutes, depending on your preference. But for this one, I've developed the recipe with a 45-second bloom. So at 45 seconds, I'm going to pour just to 200 grams. So what I'm trying to do here with a shorter pour at the beginning of the brew is I'm trying to extract a little bit more sweetness in the beginning, and then we're gonna do some bigger pours on the end that are gonna come in with a bit of a lower extraction, just to balance out the coffee. So at 1 minute, 30 seconds, we're gonna pour up to 350 grams. So one of the reasons I chose a coarser grind on this pour is so you don't have to worry too much about agitation. As you can see, I'm pouring with quite a bit of agitation, pouring in circles. I just want this to be a nice, easy recipe that we can do first thing in the morning, if we're tired, Maybe you got kids hanging off of you, which I do often when I'm doing a pour over at home. So just something that you can repeat and share. So at 2 minutes 30 seconds, we're gonna pour all the way up to 600. So on this one, it's a bit of a slower pour. I'm not filling the dripper as quickly. In my experience, 600 grams of water through a number 2 V60 is about the max that I've been able to achieve a decent cup of coffee with. All right, so up to 600 here. Our dripper is quite full. The gravity is gonna help to pull down the water, and we're gonna quicken the rate of extraction near the end here. And that's just, like I said, to balance out the notes of this coffee. Generally, we find this coffee to can be a little heavier bodied, but I really wanna try to balance out that sweetness with that heavier, kind of deeper noted body. So because we're doing a bigger brew, this is gonna take a little longer than kind of your average pour over, which might be like 2 minutes to 3.5 minutes. This one I've found finishes up around 4 minutes, 4 minute 15. All right. And now we've got a nice big brew of coffee. One thing I like to do, if you have a very large server or vessel, you can give it a swirl, just incorporate everything. Don't have a lot of space, so I'm gonna use this nice big cupping spoon and just give things a nice stir. Make sure the beverage is all incorporated together, and it's ready to serve. Nice aroma of roasted almonds, some dark chocolate, a little bit of like a toffee caramel kind of aroma. So getting some of that cherry sweetness, some of that deeper red fruit sweetness up front, moving into some of that almond, nice toffee sweetness, and finishing on like a nice kind of bittersweet dark chocolate. This is a very comfortable coffee. It stands up to cream and sugar if that's something that you or your guest prefers in their coffee. I did formulate this recipe with that in mind. I've tasted it with cream and some sugar, and it's really lovely. It's a complex but comfortable cup of coffee, and it's sweet. Yeah, I could drink a whole mug of that just first thing in the morning. So, all right, now on espresso, I've found this coffee really shines when it's a short and sweet shot. So for today, we're gonna be doing 19.5 grams in, running that shot for 34 seconds, looking for an output of 33 grams. So it's not quite a 1 to 2. I like to capture that sweetness, keep that syrupy body, and that's gonna really shine through when we combine it with milk, get some of those cherry notes, some of that caramel quality. All right, so we've got our shot of espresso. Now, first thing I'm gonna do before I drink it is I'm gonna stir it. Stir it. I just wanna make sure that the espresso is nice and incorporated so I can taste everything it has to offer in the first sip. Very sweet, syrupy body. Definitely some of that cherry, some nice malic acidity, so like some almost stewed apple, moving into a really nice, sweet, dark chocolate. This is a really lovely espresso. I found adding milk to this is going to transform that sweetness into more a milk chocolate and some toffee with that cherry still coming through. So that will do it. We've got 2 recipes for you to try out at home. We really hope you enjoy this coffee. It's something nice and comforting for what looks like it might be a cold February. So stay warm, and we'll see you next month. Enjoy.